Something very exciting has happened just a few days ago, and I have to talk about it. It's like discovering general relativity or something like that. It's about time travel and future time prediction. And it's so astounding. I'm going to go very slow. I'm going to try to get through it quickly with minimal effort. If the audience would like to comment any time and don't understand something, raise your hand, and let's just make sure everybody understands what's happening. First, I'd like to thank Jamie and Aspacia over there, who'd be much better public speakers than me in telling about this stuff, if you want to go around, and Marie, wherever she is, for organizing it here. And there's a nice audience. I'm sure you'll be very interested, because there's no debunking of this. It's a historic event. And it just happened a few days ago, and I haven't had time to make a proper presentation. The first thing you notice is, everybody must know, on March 5th, there was a series of earthquakes near New Zealand in the ocean. I put a slide there, different point, March 5th, starting in the morning at sunrise, March 5th, 2021. Now, Paul, can you go to movie 1, please? And this is what they look like. I like this movie. Just let it run twice so you can see it. It's pretty cool, isn't it? That's good. Anyway, so these earthquakes happened. No one could have known it could have happened. It turned out not to be very dangerous, but it was an unpredictable event. Does everybody agree on that? Did you know? Somebody knew. Now let's go, now let's go to the second slide. On the PowerPoint, slide 2. Now, what you'll notice is, on February 26th, a movie came out, I'll show you on Twitter, by a man named Mr. Poole, and he calls himself Loop, that's a mirror, 1127, 113. And there were some hazy images which you can actually see better than this, and people were very excited. We matched it to the city of Auckland with its space tower. And this is a view from the east, from the ocean. And there's a bunch of us by February 27th, we'd had it mapped out. He was showing a picture of Auckland for some reason, and he also had a movie to go with it. We didn't know why, and the movie was a warning about what was going to happen in about 1 week's time. Now, Mr. Poole, for the last year or so, a lot of people have been following him for 2 reasons. First, he favors cryptocurrency, XRP. Secondly, he appears to be a time traveler. All these images like coded messages and time travel. Defense contractors from the USA study him. He's a man of intense interest. And, you know, it's not just some flaky site. Highly coded messages, so I learned how to read them. Let's go see the movie he did 1 week before the Auckland earthquake. Movie 2, please, Paul. Now, it's a bit hazy, but you can see this quick little file shows the picture of Auckland, and you see the trees blowing in the wind here. I'm going to show it twice. Like there's a storm. Okay, now let's do it again. Now you see it says warning up there as a mirror image. Warning. Trees blowing in the storm, and a picture of Auckland seen from the east, from the ocean. It's old Kodak film. Now, let's do it one more time, Paul. If you look down here, you can see these numbers 654. There's a countdown in days until 1 week later. So I thought there's a countdown warning for Auckland in days to 1 week from now, something's going to happen, some storm-like event from the east. So that would be around March 4 or 5. Now the other thing you notice, for the last time, repeat it please, Paul, there's coded information here, watch it flash on and off. You see that little flashing? If you take it frame by frame, which is really easy to do with Microsoft 365, let's go back to the slideshow now, Paul, please. Let's go to this next slide, number 3. Here's the thing, warning, and here's the date, February 26th, and a lot of people saw it. And there were 7 videos given that day, like they were going to be. He posted 7 videos. I think it might be 7 days, and he had a countdown 654. And here's what I did. A lot of people decoded this. Do you see these little symbols along there? He had these little number symbols, and they changed from frame to frame. The first one was a 3. Let's go to the next one. Next slide, number 5. The next one, there's 6 of them. 36. That's the latitude south of Auckland. Let's go to the next one. 1, the next one, 7, the next one, 5. That's the longitude of Auckland. So he coded the exact latitude and longitude of Auckland into the film by this clever little method. It's frame by frame. You have to put it on there and just pick out single frame from the movie. And we had a countdown of a week starting from the 26th. Now, as we all know, we were expecting a storm. The trees were blowing. As you all know, that was the earthquake. Back to the next slide, please, Paul. And he also put pictures of at sunrise. There'd be waves. That was a few times earlier. Go to the next one, please. And here's a warning about a wave, like a tsunami warning. Now let's go to the third movie, please, Paul. There. Now at the same time as the Auckland movie, he had this picture of the sun rising over the ocean. It was going to be at sunrise over the ocean on that day. A week from there, around March 5th, something was going to happen. And this movie takes a little while. You can skip along. If you, otherwise, just let it play. Just let it play for a while. Yes, skip it along and see the sun rising. And that's when the earthquakes happened. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So, is everybody happy with that? Now you conclude he had to have foreknowledge of this happening a week before it happened. And this isn't the only thing he's done. There's lots of other time travel predictions, but this was just such a major event. Like he had predicted the lockdown, the virus, and other things. This was such a major geological event, I thought, well, we better document it. Next slide, Paul. Now, oh, sorry, next movie, please, Paul. I got it out of order. Now, what happened was, the next movie, 444. The actual tsunami was only about a meter. And here was a New Zealand resort. You can see it sweeping in. It was only about a meter, but it was a tsunami, a small tsunami.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. Yeah.
It wasn't like a massive tidal wave, it was a series of waves. Let's see.
So, there's actually,
to go out there, yeah?
seems to be no doubt that Mr. Poole and his friends, and a group of them on Twitter, knew about this tsunami event on February 26th. They put all sorts of coded messages. I've just showed you a few for brevity. And then it happened. Now, would anyone like to comment on that briefly before I go further? Was it convincing or not?
Why would he code it?
All of the messages are coded, but it's pretty obvious to people who do this. One reason is so Twitter won't take him down. Twitter's taking everything down, so he's got to protect himself. I mean, 40% of the sites were just taken off Twitter. And all the Trump sites, mainly.
Does he have knowledge of geology or volcanology?
No. It's mainly cryptocurrency and other kinds of science. So the next thing we did, I've been following him as a time traveler. We've had time travel in crops. And I thought this might be time travel on Twitter, a team of them. There's definitely a team of them, and they post every few days. So we had this amazing event. No way could anybody have known there was going to be that going to happen, and he showed very convincing evidence a week before it was going to happen. Is everybody convinced? If you're not convinced, raise your hand. Are you convinced or not convinced?
Not convinced, because if you have to have knowledge ahead of time, right?
Can you speak up? I can't hear.
Well, I can't show
Or
it.
microphone.
Hello. I'm not convinced because it could have been, that earthquake could have been man-made caused, right? There could have been, down at
Made. The second is someone may have predicted it scientifically, so it wasn't time travel. Now, if either of those happened, if they made a whole series of earthquakes, let's go back to the first movie, Paul. Yeah. Now these were the earthquakes that happened. If they made a whole series of earthquakes like that in different places, it would have been very difficult to do that in man-made. They could have done it just in one place, but these are huge areas. They would have had to set up like bombs in 3 different places along the floor, so that seems like an unlikely hypothesis for that reason. Secondly, if it was predicted, no scientist on Earth that I know could predict it, so no one actually had any indication there was stress. There were no news articles beforehand. So I'm going to continue, but I think those are the 2 major objections which I wanted to get, and I think you can consider them. We had either time travel, or a man-made earthquake, or something scientifically predictable. But 2 and 3 seem less likely to me, and I favor 1, but you can decide for yourself.
It's true though that New Zealand experiences approximately 15,000 earthquakes per annum. About 100 to 150 are recognised and reported.
When was the last 8.0 quake?
I couldn't tell you, I'm just trying to work out. And you can make a prediction at any time.
That's right, but this was an 8.0 quake, which is very rare. The last one, even the huge Christchurch earthquake, was like, how many years ago was that? And that was 6.5 or something.
Like 2015.
And having a tsunami come in, there hasn't been a tsunami in Auckland for a long, long time. And he not only had the date right, but also it was going to be at sunrise. And there was a tsunami associated with it. So the probability of that's like winning 5 slot machines at the casino all at once, if you don't know anything, just by, not by random chance. There's nothing else. He hasn't predicted any other earthquakes in years of being there. Okay. So personally, in the overall sum of evidence, including crop circles and that, I'm glad to get all the objections so people can think it all through. I think time travel, time viewing is a very favored hypothesis. And a lot of his codes say the future has already been created. He also says the coming weeks will be detrimental to your future. That was a little while ago. Future proves past. And there's a very strong time travel element of everything he does. Okay? Let's go back to the slideshow, Paul. But I'm glad to get the objections. Let me see where we are here.
Horace, we do have one more objection.
Oh, that's cool. That's what we're here for.
I don't have an objection per se. You're assuming that it was predicted by man, but say that alien technology that was able to predict earthquakes.
Very good point. And we're just going to, so the next question logically out of that is, who in the hell is Mr. Poole? Is he an alien? Is he a time traveler? Who is he? Who are we dealing with here? And there's not just one of them, there's a team of them. And they're often very humorous. And they've been in crop circles too. There was a link to crop circles. Before I show you who Mr. Poole is, I'll say I know that he has supernatural technology or advanced technology beyond what we have, because on August 24th, he sent a private message to a friend of mine, which I decoded, very complex code, across the USA, Australia, and all that. And it had to involve high-tech technology. That's another story which I don't want to go on to. But he definitely has UFO-type technology accessible to him. That doesn't mean he's not a human time traveler, but he has high-tech way beyond anything we know accessible. Okay? So now let's go to the next movie, Paul, number 4. Let me see which one. The movie number, movies. Number 5. Now, he's also very comical, and we'll show this movie twice. It's a bit of a joke. He calls himself Mr. Poole. What do you see here?
That's exactly what I said.
It's a bit of a joke. Now, let's play it again, please, Paul. What else do you see there? A loop.
Yeah.
A loop and a pool. So by quite jokingly, he's trying to say that pool is a mirror image. It's the real name, which means loop. And you can see a mirror reflection in the pool of a red-haired man hugging a child, if you look carefully. And a lot of other details, a mirror image in the pool. So we have a pool and a loop and a mirror. And what he's trying to say is, Mr. Poole is not his real name, although it's a swimming pool. It's a joke so you remember what he's doing. What he's talking about is a loop in time. It's called a closed time-like curve used for time travel. It's a loop between the future and the past. The beginning is the end is the beginning. Future influences the past influences the future. These are strange ideas when you first think about it. Everything is connected. The TV show he most cites from on his site is Dark, which is a time travel show from Germany, Dark. and there's a figure 8 symbol for Mobius type connection. Now this movie here, I want to go on, this movie here, he always puts little clues and everything. This movie here, this is old Kodachrome film, Kodak film from some time, and that's that 0 symbol. You see things flashing on and off. Once again, let's go back to the slides, Paul. I think we're going to have an answer to our problem, which may surprise you, but I can't say it very explicitly because Twitter will take the, YouTube will take the video down. If you look at slide, of all these slides, at time 1.7 seconds of that video, 1.7, he added a line there. See that little line coming off the box? Now to the next slide, please, Paul. Now if you flip it over the mirror, you can see the letter Q. And he put that at one frame at 1.7 seconds. I hope you know what that means, everybody. And here you can see the man, the tall red-haired man hugging a boy there.
Was that you, Horace?
Oh, I don't think it's a time travel future version of me. It looks more like Jesus Christ or something like that, hugging a young son. This film is from the 1990s. It's a good question. I'm red-haired also. So a red-haired man with a beard. If you look closely, there are trees, there's a building. So you put that in at 1.7 seconds. If I say any more, YouTube will take the video down. I'm sure you all know what it means. Let's go to another slide. He posted, excuse me? I'll talk to you afterward. Really, I can't mention this. You see the letter Q, just notice that. Go to the next slide here. And this is relevant to UFOs. Is there some of the UFOs from the future? This is a worm, the head of a worm, and he's smiling at us. And what he means is he's looking through a wormhole. He's making a joke. Through a wormhole to get from another star to Earth or whatever. There are lots of these. I just grabbed this one. He's looking through a wormhole to see this, the head of a worm, and he's looking through it. This is like that movie Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. He's using wormhole future viewing technology to see the future. They have some tech for that. That's what that means. The worm is looking through the hole. Very funny, isn't it? He's making a joke we can understand. There's more tech, okay? And now, let's just show you another. He's very cryptic. You have to, incidentally, these are the same people, this team of 5 or 6 of them. They're the same people who used to be called Cicada 3301 on the internet, if you know what that is. They were looking for intelligent people of our era. They also show images of like asteroid bases out beyond Mars, where they live on floating islands, like at the end of Interstellar. They have these big floating islands in space, and that's where they live on some of them. Laputas, they call them. And they live out on asteroid bases beyond Mars. Now, how far ahead that is, they talk about coming through wormholes to Earth. How far ahead that is in our time or another time, I don't really know, but it certainly is evidence for the existence of this technology. Now to close, I've shown you quite a lot. The Auckland quake was apparently predicted, short of the other explanations, by future viewing technology looking through a worm looking through a hole as a joke. Very humorous. Mr. Poole, Mr. Loop in the pool. And there are lots of cryptic clues. Let's go to the final 2 slides because I promised this would be short. Yesterday, he often published this cryptic thing. He didn't do anything for 7 days, and then yesterday he published this cryptic thing on March 4th, right as the earthquake was happening. 113, 111, 589, etc. And you notice the 311 matches his name on Twitter, Poole and Loop. It's a mirror image. That's a mirror image of that. Now, if we know decimal ASCII code, which these people are all computer very literate, this is the letter Q, that's the letter 0, 0, and Q. And the letter in the middle can either be 589 or 985. This is a cryptic puzzle. Now, if you look to see what the number 985 is, I did that because I thought the number 985 must mean something. Next slide, and the final slide, please, Paul. I found it actually in archaic Greek. It's from the ancient Greek. And what letter does it represent in modern computer code? And you can see it there. It's a mirror image symmetric Q. So I could say a lot more, but in summary, I've given you what's apparently an amazing time travel prediction by that movie. Can we go back to movie 2 and we'll just play this while I finish? And just watch that while I finish it. You can see the details. I've shown this movie, and there were a bunch of others, an amazing time travel future viewing 1 week before the tsunami took place, the trees blowing 654 in latitude of Auckland right there. And I've shown you tentatively the evidence that Mr. Poole really is a time traveler. And incidentally, in messages that a military contactee called CJ is getting in the USA, they've got an experimental program to send messages to people on Earth to communicate with us. They talk about shadowed travelers. The shadow travelers are time travelers who can't really come out because can't come out of air and just walk around openly because they'll change things uneffectively. And there are a lot of other time travel predictions he might want to verify by showing this is firm evidence. So I don't want to say too much until you think about it. I come back and give a full thing, but that's all I want to show you for now. And we'll take any other questions to see whether you're happy about it or not. Just let that keep playing.
Could it be remote viewing as against time traveling? Because the military have the knowledge to do that, remote viewing. They've been doing it for years.
I suppose it's possible, but all of the images on his site suggest they're using wormhole viewing technology, like they call it Project Looking Glass. If you know about 17, which is the code I have to use so YouTube won't take it down, Project Looking Glass was mentioned many times, that we have ways to capture images from the future. I've also, in these other messages, I've actually got a message from the future sent back from computer code from Jerusalem with the rebuilding Third Temple. And I have it there and I can't release it because of security, but it's actually a real computer coded message from the future. So the odds of sending messages back in time, CERN will apparently discover particles that go back in time in the 2040s or something. They'll discover particles that go back in time and they can modulate them to send messages into the past, but it hasn't happened. Maybe another 20 years or something is what the message says.
Does this explain? Sorry. I think one of the Cunard cruisers, they got a message coming back to the same ship, and they actually traced it back to the 1930s, and it actually came back to them 50 years later. They reckon it bounced off something, but is this in line with what you're saying here, that strange things happen like that where things come back?
I don't really think it's possible things are coming back. The message I got was sent back deliberately from physicists living in Jerusalem in the later part of this century. There was no accident. They actually sent it back as a well-prepared, they're particle physicists, they sent it back as a message. This isn't actually sending a message back. They have some technology to view the future and guide events. These people are temporal engineers. So they're time travelers who are just guiding events and changing things. So the reality you see around you will change, the world events. And if you look through all their messages, they say they're going to create new world events to a brighter world that will influence the whole world forever. And this is just credibility. So other things they say, which are quite a lot, that you'll know they really have this ability to see into the future, and they can change something now and they'll see if it changes the future, and that's how it works. That's the technology they're showing us. It may be very new to you. I've been doing this for some time. Anybody else? Oh, sorry.
Just the,
maybe you could explain the Arecibo telescope in Wiltshire, that there was a crop circle that formed in 2001 that came from the past to the future. Do you remember that one?
Thank you very much. There's no doubt that the crop artists have also done future viewing images. One was with that message near Arecibo. We don't know if it was from time or reply to the Arecibo message. They showed the Fukushima explosion 9 months before in crops that happened. They showed a few other things. I've got a big list of things, cometary events. That's happened in crops like 6 or 7 times. And actually, and just so, where's Jamie? Just so you'll be happy, I will be very optimistic toward a big UFO sighting this summer. So basically, from what I've seen in crops, prediction. But you never know where actually whether they know they're going to fly in or they're actually predicting the future or something. So these appear to be human time travelers. As far as I can tell, they could be aliens. And the bottom take-home lesson, if there are no more questions, on February 26th, there was a series of videos posted, and they showed a video of Auckland from the east where the earthquake took place, and they have a countdown over here, 654, meaning 1 week. It was 7 videos. The warning in the background, mirror image warning, and they give the latitude and longitude of the event in these flashing lights here, which I solved quite quickly. And there's quite a lot of people who are studying this already. I'm just part of like 24 people, and they haven't made a video about it. And then quite remarkably, and they showed tsunami waves. Tsunami waves would happen. It happened exactly, you know, no one was expecting it 1 week later, exactly on time. So it isn't proven, but it's a very high probability. What you're looking for in science is not proof, but high probability. No science is proof, it's always probability. Which hypothesis explains the data? We've seen some other hypotheses, a man-made thing, or science is predicting it, or a message is bouncing back. There are other hypotheses, but I think the overall, when you take the whole thing, we're looking at a technology whereby they can see events in the future probabilistically. So probably the best hypothesis. Any more final questions?
In those videos that you showed with the pool, on the extreme right there was a ball that this tourist came, you know, and bounced on. But on your upside down video, I think the ball is missing.
No, I just took a slide out and flipped it around so you can see the letter Q. But he was making a joke there. The guy's a joker. You know, pool, swimming pool, Mr. Pool, loop in the pool.
Okay, so the other one is what?
No, it's actually, you have, because every time there's a video, you have to look at it frame by frame and dissect it. There's cryptic clues everywhere. That's how you, otherwise you don't. So you study every video frame by frame, click, click, click. And a loop in time, any physicist knows that a loop in time is called a closed time-like curve. So you have all these other hypotheses, but he calls himself Mr. Pool Loop. Anyone who knows physics knows that refers to time travel. So I think that's probably the probable hypothesis, and this is sort of a smoking gun which anyone can recognize. And it was studied by a lot of other people. It's quite a sensation on the internet right now, and this morning thousands of people looking at it. So that's why I decided to give this short talk. Is everybody happy? Thank you, Paul, thank you, Marie, and thank you, Jamie and Aspasia. And hopefully this will be a historic change in perception.